We start with a round called If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Holly, which category would you like?
Politics, please.
No problem. No, politics is the category. Let's have a look at the answer. 11.5 billion. What is the question?
What is the amount I stand to win if the new royal baby is called Trevor?
Is it how many laxatives is Nigella Lawson going to put in her husband's next cake?
Is it how many words are there in an iTunes terms and conditions update?
Is it how much of Eric Pickle's department agreed to cut from their biscuit budget?
Is it how many times does Berlusconi have to be found guilty before he actually goes to jail?
Wow.
Is it how many times a day do I currently have to listen to Get Lucky by Daft Punk?
Is how many Tesco club card points do you need for 10p off a pack of cereal?
Is it how much has Dara O'Brien got his legs insured for?
You've never seen them.
Yeah.
You've never seen... You know how magical they are.
Is it how many times does a former Radio 1 DJ delete his internet browsing history when the doorbell rings?
How many Ferrero Rocher has Julian Assange eaten in the last year?
Is it quite simply think of a number?
No. Do they have the correct answer?
Yes. How much money does George Osborne want the government departments to cut in the spending review?
Absolutely right. Thank you very much, Chris. Alistair, thank you very much. Yes, the question I was looking for is how much money has Chancellor George Osborne agreed to cut from government departments in his latest spending review? Do we know when the spending review is supposed to kick in? When is this for?
Well, this spending review, it's essentially cuts, isn't it?
Yes.
They call it review, but they mean cuts.
Yes.
I mean, imagine we all spoke like politicians. I, in fact, reviewed my toenails this morning, but I haven't been for a hair review for some time.
The departments are all fighting about it, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
They're fighting, and some departments have done worse than others. The MOD have got off quite lightly, but that's quite understandable. It's very difficult to negotiate with the MOD because they've got guns.
I dare they just walk in and just put them on the table.
Yeah.
Or spin them. That'd be particularly impressive. They said, "Oh, I'm quite happy to negotiate this."
You know what
Pick a number.
other departments got off really lightly. I mean, nothing happened yet again to the Ministry of Sound, and...
Got a Ramashu and Miles! Now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, I'll read out this week's topics and we'll see what our panellists can come up with. OK, here we go. The first subject is unlikely greeting cards.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Sorry you're dead. What can you do?
Sorry you're leaving, and sorry to break it to you in such a cowardly fashion.
Happy Father's Day, whoever you are, wherever you are.
Roses are red, violets are red, the greenhouse is red. I think I'm bleeding to death.
At this difficult time, I'm thinking of you, wearing suspenders and a mask.
I saw this and thought of you. Blank inside.
My feelings can't be put into words, although the judge did describe them as inappropriate.
That was a scrape. Congratulations on your circumcision.
Congratulations, you did it. And we'll prove it. The Crown Prosecution Service.
It's a girl, not a woman, which is why you're going to prison.
With deepest sympathies for the loss of your grandmother. / happy housewarming.
You've passed away.
It's 21 years, and this time you'll probably die in prison.
To our darling son, on your 21st birthday, now get the fuck out of our house.
Please help me. I'm trapped inside a North Korean card factory. Also, Iron Man says happy 4th birthday.
Roses are red, violets are blue. When you go down on me, please don't chew.
OK, the next topic is things you wouldn't hear on a science documentary.
The dinosaurs were wiped out by a giant asteroid. Silly them for all standing in the same place.
Does it burn anything other than Bunsen?
He named the star after himself, and now we find ourselves looking at Arthur Cockmonster III.
So, it glows in the dark and it has a half-life of 1,000 years. Frankly, I've never done a poo like it.
On today's show, we'll be talking about the Jurassic period, where only dinosaurs and Bruce Forsyth roam the earth. He's old, isn't he?
For Sarah Palin, it's conclusive proof that man and dinosaur existed together. For everybody else, the Flintstones is just a cartoon.
Next, biology. Why is that gorilla so sexy?
Let the proton see the electron.
Scientists in Loughborough have found the formula to make the perfect cup of tea, which is quite controversial as the grant was for AIDS research.
You've been watching me, Richard Dawkins. Good night and God bless.
See, and the problem with cocaine is it's well Moorish.
Well, we could ask a proper scientist about this, or we could ask Dara O'Brien.
Hello, my name's Dara O'Brien. And to try and bring science to the masses, I'm going to appear in a programme with Stephen Hawking wearing a ridiculous hat.
Just enough with the, you know... I love that hat, by the way.
Hello, I'm Dara O'Brien. And I've got a massive head and a massive brain. But all I get to do in this bit is just press a little button.
Mr. O'Brien, I award you a PhD. Phenomenal head, Dara.
I would just like to say that I think Dara O'Brien's a legend.
I work with Dara O'Brien. And today, my experiment is to turn this joke into a P45.
Okay, well done, Dylan. Points go to Romesh, you and Miles. The first subject is unlikely lines to find in the Bible.
He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy.
And God said, "Let there be light." Sponsored by Power Jam.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
And God said, right, that's the 14 commandments. Now, will you remember all those?
That's very good.
Table for 12, Jesus. I can do 2 6s at 8:30.
And on the 8th day, God created a magic talking leopard and forgot all about us.
And Mary said God had given her a child, so Joseph went and joined Fathers for Justice.
And it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, although Thames Water still had a hosepipe ban.
St. Paul's third epistle to the Corinthians. Dear Corinthians, I've written to you twice now. No reply. I don't know how you do things in Corinth, but where I'm from, that's a bit rude.
Okay, here we go. The first subject is unlikely things to read in a political memoir.
So we were playing Truth or Dare, and I didn't want to tell the truth, so I shagged Edwina Curry.
Big Ben struck 12 and stopped. Thank God. My buttocks were on fire.
I thought I'd pressed the button that summoned the tea lady. Imagine my surprise when it turned out I'd bombed Russia.
I think the greatest thing about meeting the Queen was listening to him singing Candle in the Wind.
Yeah. Say what you like about Robert Mugabe, but that moustache makes all the difference to foreplay.
I suspected that John Prescott was having an affair when the 4 legs of his desk came through the ceiling above me.
I was actually at college with Saddam Hussein. We were at Sussex together doing chemistry and combined inhumanities.
At the start, there were 3 women in the cabinet, 5 in the cellar and 2 under the patio.
Deciding to go to war was one of the tensest games of eeny, meeny, miny, mo I have ever played.
We'd sometimes break up boring cabinet meetings by convincing David Blunkett he was black.
Oh, when we got into Bosnia, the first thing we did was get the United Nations troops setting up trestled tables with plates of cheese straws and sausage rolls. But it turns out we were supposed to provide a buffer, not a buffet.
John Prescott, a book by me.
Take that, you bastard, he said. No one fucks with Mahatma Gandhi.
Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Rod, which category would you like?
The media, please.
Right, the media, OK. The answer is 1 million. What is the question?
How many Asian children are Brad and Angelina planning to adopt?
Is it, how many times could I punch Adrian Chiles in the face without making him uglier?
Is it in a poll of 1 million people? How many people hate Cristiano Ronaldo?
Is it?
Yes, clearly neither he nor his mother were in the poll then.
No. Is it how many men will take their kids to watch Harry Potter this week simply to see how Hermione's getting along?
Is it, in 20 years' time, what will be the size of the black nation that Madonna rules?
Is it? How many nectar points do you need to get a set of tumblers?
How much of the money that Amy Winehouse made from the song Tried to Make Me Go to Rehab has she spent on rehab?
Is it by what percentage would the situation in the Middle East be improved if we gave George Bush to the Taliban?
Is it what number would you get if you took everybody in Scotland who gave a shit about the Ashes and added 1 million?
Is it the number? It's something to do with the phone tapping thing.
It is something to do with the phone tapping, yeah.
Is it the number of conversations of John Prescott's they had to listen to before they got one without the words party bucket in it?
Oh, I know what it is.
Is
It's
it-
the amount of celebrities that were on a list that they were going to...
Not 1
No, it's the
million.
number they
How
paid
long a list? How long a list would that be?
Hey, it's the amount the News of the World had to paid out so far to people who have accused them of tapping their phone.
Absolutely well done, Rod Gilbert. Absolutely spot on. There you go. We come to scenes we'd like to see, so if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, please. I'll read out this week's topics, and then we'll see what our panellists can come up with. OK, here we go. Our first subject is things you won't hear at the World Cup.
No one's guaranteed a start in this England team. The only thing that's nailed on is Wayne Rooney's hair.
Oh, that was a horrible two-footed lunge, but it was the only way I could shut Phil Neville up.
And now our cameraman is going to pick out some of the plainer girls in the crowd.
Let's have a look at possession. Yes, 7 Colombians have been arrested for it.
Hang on. It's not very high. Sorry. So it's just this one side is doing it all the time, and that's really unfair. I'm so sorry, right? You two are just... You're kind of hogging it a bit. So for the rest of the round, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to... Things you won't hear at the World Cup. Dun 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 dun. Sorry, excuse me.
It's the first time that most people have ever seen Dara's legs, ladies and gentlemen. That's Messi! Oh, Messi! Yes, Wayne Rooney should never have a half-time orange unsupervised.
There's little doubt now that Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the world's all-time greatest twats.
Welcome to Sugarloaf Mountain, the hardest level on Candy Crush.
And that's a very soft tackle, as Pele hasn't taken his tablets yet.
Is he the finished article? That's the question. He did very well against Italy, but Sterling has traditionally performed very badly against the dollar and the yen.
And now we go over live for Nigeria against the Ivory Coast and our commentator, Ron Atkinson.
You join us here in Brazil where it's still fucking well up.
Hey, who's heard what's going on in Iraq?
There's 6 Brazilians in the wall and 2 in the foundations. That's the mafia for you.
4 years later, Paul the Octopus is back. And what a stew he made.
Andre Pirlo, the only player in world football to be named after the Palestinian Liberation Organization.
There you go. OK. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel for the first topic. And the first subject is parenthood. Who wants to go in that? Ed.
Been thinking recently that I should maybe have a baby, but thought about it and definitely not. Couldn't handle that amount of responsibility, something that precious. It's terrifying. You know, I've got friends who've just had a baby and they offer that thing around like a plate of biscuits. Do you want to hold my baby? Do you want to hold my baby? I don't want to touch your baby. That is a heart in a bag. I'm going nowhere near that thing. You wouldn't send the work experience into the boardroom, would you? Start me off at holding your uncle and I will work my way up. This is Uncle Toby, 47, from Swansea. Don't worry about dropping me, Ed. I am absolutely shit-faced. Still can't help it. I still think I might want a baby. Like, there's just moments in life I'm just grabbing at signs from the universe. Think, oh, maybe I should have a baby. It's happened to me the other day. I was in the queue in a shop to buy a new light bulb. Because I'm not a student anymore, my light bulb had gone. I'm not going to sit there in the dark for 6 months. So I was in the queue, and in the queue in front of me was a man with a baby. He was a dad. You've got to give people the benefit of the doubt in that scenario. Can't go storming in going, excuse me, is that your baby? You've just got to admit it probably is, right? And on the wall, there were these light switches. They weren't real light switches. They were just, like, designer ones to show you what they would look like on the wall. And the baby was playing with them. It was going, ah-da-da-da-da-da, playing with them. And the dad was going, yeah, try that one. And was going, ah-da-da. I saw that. I thought, ooh, that's quite sweet. Maybe I want a baby. There's something in that tableau that I quite like. Maybe I want a baby. Am I broody? Is this brood? And then the dad walked off with the baby, and I wandered over to the light switches and started playing with them. I thought, oh, no. That's what I wanted.
Very good, Ed. Now we come to our final quickfire round called Scenes We'd Like to See. This is for everyone, so if you could make your way over to the performance area. I caught ideas for scenarios we'd love to see, and the performers come in with their suggestions. OK, here we go. The first subject is questions that were rejected from this year's exams.
If the answer is 9, what is the question?
When you finish this exam, please will you turn your paper over and mark it?
Using Darwin's theory of evolution, explain Boris Johnson.
By the year 2015, the population of the Earth will have increased by 20%. How do we find Kerry Katona and stop her?
Complete the following sequence. 16, 35, 24, 8, 9. Now open the safe, grab the stuff and get in the getaway car.
If an object is travelling at 750 miles an hour, encounters resistance and slows to 0, for how many months will Richard Hammond have to wear nappies?
On the diagram below, show on the body where you like to be touched.
Describe Uranus without telling your parents.
Amy is 16. At least she said she was. How much trouble are you in?
Complete this crop rotation. Wheat, fallow, rock festival, BNP rally.
If everybody in Class A is called Tom, Thomas or Tommy, and every second boy in Class B is called Tim, Timothy or Timmy, what the fuck is going on?
Unlikely questions from this year's exams.
Discuss the metaphysical meaning of the following poem. My friend Billy has a 10-foot willy.
Would you like this exam to be A, multiple choice, or not?
The Bronte sisters. Shag, marry, push off a cliff.
Discuss the following. The Nazis got all their ideas from the History Channel.
Who's the chap in the A team who would not get on the aeroplane? Was it A, B, or B, A?
If a bank loses £60 billion in a 6-month period, using numbers that you've plucked out of thin air, work out what the chief executive's bonus will be.
Napoleon, a small man or a long way away?
Quantify n in terms of q when q is a positive integer that dissects a parabolic curve.
How's your lucky pencil case now?
What's the name of that round thing that they throw in the Olympics? Discuss.
Draw a diagram of the genitalia of the male elephant. Use all 30 sheets of paper provided.
Biology. Without singing, what is the knee bone connected to?
Explain the use of juxtaposition in Macbeth. Alternatively, write down everything you know about Macbeth in a blind panic because you've got no idea what the word juxtaposition is.
Drama. Question 1. What was it that first made you want to become a waiter?
What is your PIN number?
OK, here we go. The first subject is rejected questions from this year's exams.
If sine A over A equals sine B over B equals sine C over C, what are the chances that you're ever going to use this in your sodding adult life?
According to Germany, how much is Greece worth? 1 mark.
Exam board of Zaragoza. Paint Jesus.
Jonathan is a Nigerian prince. What are your credit card details?
3 girls in this hall are pregnant. Who's the daddy?
Compare the following. A, the market. B, the meerkat.
Heat the crystals until they produce a vapour. Inhale. The exam seems easier now, doesn't it?
Without swearing, describe Peter Andre.
Mental arithmetic. Count up the voices in your head.
Using the paper provided, roll a joint and pass it round.
Does this look infected?
In the recent Olympics, Great Britain won 3 times as many gold medals as Australia. That's not a question, just a statement.
One Direction are incredibly popular. Explain.
Sport. How do you spell Akabusi? Is it A-K-B-U-C? Yes or no?
If Steve eats 2 apples, an orange and a banana, why is he such a fat fucker?
Questions omitted from this year's exams.
Using pi, distract the fat kid next to you so as you can copy his answers.
Using only the English language, write something.
History. Henry IV, Henry V, Henry VII. Which was the greatest Hoover the caretaker ever had?
Maths. Robert has 400 stamps. He'd like to put them in 12 different albums. He wants to have them equally in each album. How many friends does Robert have?
Do you know the way to San Jose?
Religious studies. If two men have been married for 10 years, for how long will they burn in hell for?
If the fluid has been flowing at 21 litres a minute for 15 minutes, what on earth is wrong with my bladder?
Fill your name at the top of the exam paper. If it's Tyler or Charmaine, get up, leave the school and never come back.
Using only the mass of the ass and the angle of the dangle, calculate the measure of the pleasure.
Yes. If a man travels 12 miles each day to buy a loaf of bread, how long before he realises that living in the countryside is shit?
Are multiple choice exams too easy? A, yes.
Optician's final exam. What do you think are the main causes of short-sightedness? And now? How about now? And now? What about now? And now?
Media studies, trick question 1. Name a business like show business.
Geography. What is to blame for climate change? A, the sunlight, B, the moonshine, C, the good times, or D, the boogies?
Now we play a round called Your Grexits Are Here, Here and Here. This game involves James and Gary, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launched the wheel of news, and whoever chooses to stop, one of the performers must step forward and talk about that subject. OK, here we go. The first subject is parties. Who wants to go in that? James.
I went to a surprise party recently with my friend Daryl. We were all in his living room, all of us, in the dark, hiding. His girlfriend turned to us all, she went, right, he's going to be here in a minute. When he gets in, everyone jump out, yell surprise, and that will be really surprising. I argued it'd be a lot more surprising if instead of making all that commotion, we all just stood there in his living room in the dark, just... When he comes in and turns the lights on, see how surprised he is then? It's a good party. I schmoozed. I'm good at schmoozing. Buttering people up. I'll give you some schmoozing tips, why not? A lot of people will tell you when you're schmoozing, have a good icebreaker, right? Break the ice. What they won't tell you, at the end of the conversation, unbreak the ice. You don't want anyone else swooping in, taking advantage of all the lovely little ice cubes that you created. So freeze it over again before you leave. So as you're leaving, just slide something under the fence, like death comes to us all, something like that.
So, Gary is left. Let's see what topic you have, Gary. Let's spin the wheel. And the topic is childhood.
I didn't know what to get my little niece for Christmas, so I asked my sister what she's into. And apparently, at the moment, she's mad about frozen stuff, so I got her some oven chips and peas. Now, they love that. every Christmas day, we'd always have pigs in blankets. Or, as you probably call them, relatives sleeping in the spare room. Winnie the Pooh, possibly the most vindictive chapter in Nelson Mandela's autobiography. It was only after I shot the 5th zombie that I started to wonder why they were all carrying bags of sweets and ringing my doorbell. I've been trying to recapture my lost youth. I really must get that cellar door fixed. One time when I was a kid, I bought a chocolate bar. On the inside of the wrapper, it said, "You're a loser." I wouldn't mind if there'd been some sort of competition on. To make things worse, it was a boost. As a family, we couldn't decide whether to have Nana buried or cremated, so in the end, we let her live. My 13-year-old cousin's already started taking heroin. It's amazing, isn't it? They shoot up so fast these days.
Well done. Very good. Point to I'm going to go to Lady. Everyone come back. Subject is the West Country. Who? Russell.
How can you not love the West Country? I've genuinely seen graffiti in Bristol during the last Tory campaign. Do you remember, are you thinking what we're thinking? Somebody had written underneath it, "Is it, do I like what's-its?" It's phenomenal. Just wonderful, isn't it? I used to live there. I've moved away from Bristol because I was near a dogging site, which is just a bit odd, right? And, all right, I wasn't into it. I was just near a dogging site, right? And I was talking to my friend. I was like, "Jane, why do they do dogging near the house, right?" And she looked and went, "Apparently, you got really great views of the Clifton Suspension Bridge." And you're like, "Well, you've got faith in humanity, haven't you? Just the idea that some... I tell you what, it's only when you're doing the nasty in a Cortina that you can truly appreciate the work of Isambard King of Brunei. That, my friend, is craftsmanship. Shall we? Nubba na na nubba nubba na na na. Wonderful.
Thank you very much, Russell. OK, we're left with Michael and Andy. Let's spin the wheel again. The next subject is North-South Divide. There goes Michael.
Right, yes. Now, I am from the south. You noticed? I have been north, up the M1, and I don't know what happens to the word "the." It seems to disappear at about junction 25 on the M1, and the word "the" just goes, "That's it from me, I'm getting off. You go on ahead." Are you coming with? No, I'm not interested up there. And then you get there, and they don't have... They say, "Oh, fridge, oh, you're going up to... What are you doing?" My first experience of this was when I went to the cinema in Leeds. I saw The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. I had more fun asking the woman what it is I'd booked to see than watching the entire movie itself. So what is it I'm seeing here today? Took one, took witch and took wardrobe. What are you talking about? You're hearing this? Are you taking toothpaste? Yes, of course. I thought it might be a nice idea maybe to go to HMV and get a DVD of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, maybe The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, and perhaps an album by The. And just line them up on the counter. What is it I've decided to purchase here? Took one, took witch and took wardrobe. Took good, took button, took ugly. And took. Thank you.
Well done, Michael. OK, the next topic is things you wouldn't hear on a train.
The next station will be Wimbledon. Change here for Overground, Underground and Womble free.
The next stop for this train will be Waterloo. It's not meant to be, but the brakes have failed.
Yeah, I just want to tell you I'm on the train. No, just everyone else is doing it. Thought I'd join in.
Hello, this is your driver speaking. Choo-choo!
Now an announcement for the people who insist on sitting the way the train is moving because sitting backwards feels weird. You're weird.
This train will shortly be arriving in Taunton. Please remember to turn off all mobile phones lest they mistake you for gods.
This is an announcement for all passengers. Piss off, the lot of you. This is Crossrail.
Due to Britain leaving the EU, this train will no longer stop at Ashby de la Zouch.
Bing bong! Could the owner of a missing xylophone please make their way to the guard's carriage?
This is an announcement for the passengers who are complaining that this service is late. Can I just point out that as this is Southern Rail, you're lucky to be on a fucking train at all.
Bing bong. This is the bullet train service to Tuck it. Oh, we're here. Everyone off.
Would the driver please contact the guard? We're doing 120. You don't seem to be in the cab, mate.
Please mind the gap between the timetable and reality.
There is a quiet carriage on this train for those shocked into silence by the price of the ticket.
Oh, don't get off here. I was listening to that.
I'm scared of tunnels. I'm so scared of tunnels.
At the end of that round, the point for Ed, Hugh and James.
Unlikely things to hear in hospital.
We need a drip. Somebody get me Michael Gove.
Now, the good news is your blood results have come back clear. The bad news is blood shouldn't be clear.
Oh, my God, yay! £350 million. Great news, thanks.
Time of death, Pims o'clock. Look, if you squeeze his drip really hard, he gets an erection.
I'm a junior doctor and I get paid enough.
Erectile dysfunction, you say? Does it hurt when I do this? And does it feel amazing when I do this?
Now, you have pneumonia. Would you like to keep that or gamble for the big prize?
I remember when my dick looked that young.
I am the leading gynecologist in this hospital. I work in the cafe, but I'm a bit of a legend.
Would anybody like a hand? I've just found a hand.
You have cancer. Sorry, you're having a cancer. Your baby is due July 15th.
Well, the good news, it's not spread. It might be jam or peanut butter.
I see you. I see you. No, can you tell me the way to the ICU?
We've had a look at your X-ray, and what we've found might alarm you. There's a big skeleton living in your body.
Yes, I think it's a curvature of the upper spine, but it's just a hunch.
Good news, Mrs. May. We managed to have your tear ducts repaired just in time for your big speech.
All right, the end of the point to Tom Organ. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. The first subject is alternative medicine. Can I have a volunteer to talk about that? Andy.
Apparently, a lot of people trying to get into therapy at the moment, other people knocking it, saying, you know, oh, well, you should just lose your inhibitions, talk about your problems to your friends. I thought I'd try this. I talked about my problems to my friends for a whole hour. Lost my inhibitions, also lost my friends. I now tell my problems to taxi drivers. 2 advantages in this. 1, it stops the taxi driver from telling you his problems. And 2, it's amazing how much quicker you get to your bloody destination.
Well done, Andy Parsons. OK, let's spin the wheel again. Subject is the media. Who wants to come into that? Russell.
I'll do that. I'd see, you know, the way I like getting the news is Radio 5 Live. It's fantastic, 'cause it's just news and nutters, isn't it? They'll read out, like, that was the Pope's view on abortion, and then, hello, Felicity Puddleduck here, livid and ill-informed. I'd just like to say those harlots should give birth to their children aged 2 that charge you to national service. I'm off to bake a cake. And you sat there listening, then the next night, David, are you out of your mind? Cloning? Think it through. 2 versions of me. Want to go out and commit a crime? Who gets blamed for it? Me! I'm doing it 20 Street. He's banging my wife. Where's the justice? And you sat there listening to these nutters, and then the most ridiculous story. A man in Bristol's found the face of Jesus on a crisp. And suddenly, I couldn't believe how you put up my frazzles. There he was!
Russell Howard. OK, here we go. The first subject is unlikely film trailers.
Referendum 2. We'll keep doing it until we get the result we like.
From the director of Batman vs Superman, a heartfelt letter of apology for wasting our time.
Tantric Sex, the movie, not coming soon.
The new all-female Ghostbusters. The CGI looks amazing because we saved 30% on actors' wages.
Sepp Blatter and Donald Trump star in Despicable. Me Too.
Thanks to an unfortunate typo, it's the most one-sided action film ever. Allen versus Predator.
Just when you thought the service couldn't be any more appalling, Southern Rail present Snakes on a Train.
The Avengers go to prison. They should have asked the age of Ultron.
The greatest trick the devil ever played was charging £9 for Fanta and popcorn. It's a fucking lot, isn't it?
In his most important role to date, Danny Dyer is Emmeline Pankhurst. Reading the rest of these tarts, he's pissed off!
The sequel you hoped they would never make. The Martian 2. 101 dull Martians.
One man stands alone It's Labour, the film. It's the autoerotic asphyxiation thriller, Die Hard.
50 Shades of Grey, the heartwarming story of a vajazzler in an old folks' home.
In a land where nothing costs more than a pound. It's Poundland.
Referendum 4. Now Ant wants to leave deck.
Michael Gove is David Cameron's best buddy in Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Mate.
Harrison Ford is 73 and he's back in Indiana Jones and the Tricky Patch of Ice outside the post office.
In a world where they only sell PCs. It's PC world.
Let's spin the wheel. The first subject is parenting. Who wants to come in on that? Avivada.
I'm a parent, and no one ever actually prepares you properly for being a parent. They give you some books about what's going to happen to your body, how the baby's going to grow. When I find out nowadays if any of my friends are actually going to have a child, the only book I give them is We Need to Talk About Kevin. Because I'm not going to lie to you, it hasn't really worked out for me. I can kind of tell how old people's kids are by the enthusiasm in their answer if you ask if they've got kids. Because if they go, yeah, I've got kids, you can tell the kids are still quite young. They haven't had time for the hate to really kick in. So having a daughter and having a son, I've actually worked out why you men are so messed up. And what it is, right, is because my son, he talks quite a lot. He rabbits on a lot. And the other day he was going, Mum, Mum, and I just went, shut up, or else I'll knock you out. And he turned round to me and he went, Mum, I'd like to see you try. So I tried. I had to see if the joke would work. And I realised, because my son, he's the same height as me now, he plays county-level rugby, he's actually stronger than me. And I realised, gosh, I actually can't physically hurt this boy. So I sat there and I thought about it, and it was at that point I realised, oh, my gosh, I'm going to have to mess him up psychologically. And that is what we do.
Thank you very much, Anna. OK, the next subject, please. Let's spin the wheel. Next subject is science. Who wants to come in that? Chris Harrison.
I'll tell you the problem with science, right? The problem with science is it refuses to speak the language of those of us who don't understand science, right? Even when it's the job of science to be talking to us numpties, it can't bring itself to speak as we do. Pick up a packet of paracetamol, right? Look at the instructions on the back of that. It says, for the treatment of neuralgia, fibrositis, muscular, whatever. We don't talk like that. If that talked anything like us, that would say, for the treatment of the worst headache I've ever had in my life. A pain in my side, I'm sure actually is cancer this time. My wife's had to help me out of the car. It's coming out of both ends like someone's hit a pan of chocolat with a mallet. That is how we talk, right? But it doesn't. We can't tell what's actually science and what is some hokey nonsense dressed up as science to, you know, entice us in. That's why cosmetics companies, whenever they bring out a new thickness of goop, right, they give it a kind of sciencey name so we'll be all dazzled. Nivea DNAge. OF off. Right? Avon's new cream is called a Nugenics. What? A Nugenics, right? That's been through marketing, that's been through focus groups, design. Did nobody at any point go, a Nugenics? You don't think that sounds a bit Third Reich-y, maybe? What next? New pro-genocide, now with anti-Semitox. Sandra, can I borrow your ethnic cleanser?
Well done, Chris Hansen. And that leaves us with Milton. Let's see what you've been left with. Let's spin the wheel. And the topic is the USA.
So I've just come back from America, apparently. While I was there, I saw one of those very, 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 very large Americans. He said he fitted kitchens. I said, I bet you don't. I went up to this girl. I said, what's your name? She said, Chantal. I said, well, if you're not going to tell me your name... I said, what do you do for a living? She said, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. I said, I hope you're not a travel agent. When I was in America, I bought tickets for the Bears versus the Cowboys. Bit of a disappointment. I want to see Bears versus Cowboys. So then I bought tickets for the Giants versus the Jets. Another missed opportunity. And I bought tickets for the Packers versus the Dolphins. Get in the box, get in the box.
Thank you very much. Points for everyone there. Let's all get back. Come on. Here's a picture of Tony Blair and Home Secretary Charles Clarke. So what does BWCB stand for?
Blair worships Crazy Bush.
I know she's not actually in the picture, but is it Blair wants Kaplan beheaded?
It's more of a dance thing going on. I think it's Blair wins cha-cha battle.
Or Blair waves credibility goodbye. Or they clapped, even though goodbye begins with a G.
Is Charles Clarke in the background there, or is he just a tiny wee man who lives underneath Blair's armpit? Pops out every so often to talk about ID cards.
Or is it Britain wants Calais back? I think it's a reasonable demand. If we talk, if the CAP's on the table and the rebates on the table, let's put Calais on the table as well.
What do you mean Calais back? When
We
did
had
you
it.
have
We
Calais?
did it. We had Calais.
Agincourt, have you forgotten?
We had Calais right up until quite a long time ago.
Calais fell during the reign of Queen Mary I, and she said she died, she had Calais written across her heart.
It was ours. What have you ever owned?
Well, we had some stuff, then you came along and took it. And now we're slowly trying to get it back off you. So I don't advise doing this for France either.
Yeah.
So you had Calais for a while, and you think now this is the right time in which to redemand the return of Calais.
That's why the Channel Tunnel comes up there, really. It's for troop movement. It's to get...
The sudden march on Europe by the panel is quite scary, isn't it? Yeah. Our next topic is unlikely things to hear on a breakfast show.
If the woman I picked up last night is watching, help yourself to cereal, but get out of the flat by the time I get home.
And now it's time for Thought for the Day. That was a good one.
You're listening to Six Music. Yes, you. No, just you.
Welcome to Travel Report. We've got a text here from Dave on the M5 who says, ha ha ha, every morning you leave for work, I pop round and shag your wife.
So if you're trying to get in via Junction 2, stop it. It's against nature, and the Bible says no.
Next, we speak to Fern Britton about having her stomach stapled, this time to an enormous chocolate cake.
In other traffic news, if you're on the M11 headed towards Middlesbrough, I would turn around because it's a shithole.
Hello! I'm doing a survey into the effects of replacing milk on your Weetabix with Red Bull!
And we can see there's been an accident northbound on the M1, and it is a beauty.
Welcome to Radio Tourette's, you shit monkeys.
You may think of it as a breakfast show. I had mine at 4:30.
Later, Vanessa Feltz will be joining me on the settee, and I'll be bouncing through the fucking ceiling.
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Frankie, Hugh and Jack.
We forget about Cameron is he presents this blokish image, but he's just unbelievably posh. He's pretending he's going to sort the banks out. He is the same people as the banks. They're the same people. The only reason he'd get tough with a banker would be if it was someone who farted on his head at school.
It is the thing I found with Cameron, because Cameron, it's one of the easiest gigs in the world, because all he has to do is shut up, and because Brown is clearly on his way out, so all Cameron has to do, basically, to get elected is not answer any questions.
But he hasn't,
and all he does is, people say, well, what do you do? And he say, well, I'll tell you what we won't do. I'll tell you what we won't do. That's everything. And this is a job interview. How irritating does that get in a job interview if somebody just, like, if you had a guy around to your house, a builder, to fix a hole in the roof, and you said, well, there's the hole, what do you do? I'll tell you what I won't do. I won't fix that with cheese. That's what I won't do. If you were interviewing a nanny, how irritating would that be if you said to a nanny, well, what would you do with that child? I'll tell you what I won't do. I won't tie the child to a wall and go in the piss with my mates. I won't do that.
My favourite guy in the Shadow Cabinet is, the only one who's ever said anything, is Andrew Lansley, who came out, he's the Shadow Health Secretary, and he said people should enjoy the credit crunch because it'll allow them to spend more time with their families because they'll be unemployed. Other benefits include increased upper body strength from having to climb out of a skip every morning and improved agility from chasing rats about with a fork. Who's this guy? Does he go up to blind people and congratulate them on how much money they're saving on wallpaper?
Are the Conservatives living on the right planet? All this idea about confiscating mobile phones and bikes. How about confiscating knives and guns? What's the worst you can do with a bike and a phone? A ride by texting.
Even if we got teenagers' mobile phones, we wouldn't even be able to understand what they're texting to each other. It'd be like a Clockwork Orange or something. Are you slipping my Grubel, Terry? I should fro-fo.
I think what the text will end up saying over the coming months is, you're not going to believe this, Dave, a Tory politician has just tried to mug me for my phone.
I now have his phone. Ha 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 ha. LOL, epic fail.
But they're doing it. This is the funniest thing. They're doing it to stop graffiti. Now, some graffiti's amazing, isn't it? I was driving along the other day. There was a big sign that said "Stop," and underneath somebody had written "Hammer Time." Now, you do not confiscate someone's phone if they don't.
I'm all for confiscating bikes, though, because I've only ever been beaten up once in my life, and it was by kids on bikes when I was 10. And it was when I learnt a very, very valuable lesson in life. I was playing cricket in a local park, right, and these kids on bikes came swooping down the hill, and they nicked the stumps that we were playing with, right? And this was where I learnt my valuable lesson, which was, don't try and do voices. Because instead of saying to these kids, excuse me, can you give me my stump back? What I actually said to them, and I've no idea to this day why I said it, I said, excuse me, would you mind handing me back my stumps? And what they did was they beat me round the head with the stump.
You got them back, wait a minute, Hugh. This taught you not to do voices. You've done every third voiceover I've ever heard. I'm sure you're the voice of Findus Crispy Pancakes.
They're amazing, though. Those moments you look back in your youth when you go, why did I say it? I used to get bullied because I've got a lazy eye, still quite bad. And kids were really cruel. Look at him, he's obsessed with his nose. Who said that? I used to cry. I looked like a Picasso in the rain. And I did that thing. I went to my dad for advice. Like, Dad, I need help. And my dad goes, say this to the bullies and they'll bully you no more. Picture me, age 10. It's nearly as embarrassing as your story. Age 10 going, bullies, how can my eye be lazy?
crazy when it wanders around so freely.
Now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, I'll read out this week's topics, then we'll see what our panelists can come up with. OK, here we go. The first subject is unlikely small ads.
Hello, my name's Ads.
For sale, 1 tent. Please contact the BBC.
Genuine single man looking for a relationship. Call this number. If my wife answers, hang up.
Free to good home. Fucking printer.
Phone to hear my talk about how I became obese. 888-8888.
Rubbish collection services. Yep, we are genuinely shit at it.
I saw you on the tube. You were wearing the pink sweater with your hair pulled back. I had my cock and balls out.
Do you want a hard-working plumber for a reasonable rate? Then you shouldn't have voted for Brexit.
Learn English on Owner Home. Good examplings, quick books, disbelievable price. You buy?
Applications are now open for the Donald Trump School of Talking to Women because those bitches are not going to interrupt themselves.
Wanted, the internet, as I seem to be the only person in the whole bloody world still using the small ads.
Have you lost a ginger cat? Check the top of Donald Trump's head.
Phone to hear my talk about my reaction to eating a South African bishop. 000-00822.
Respectable middle-aged lady would like to meet gentlemen for cosy nights in, country walks, theatre visits, and occasional eye-popping anal.
OK. The next topic is things you wouldn't hear on a TV cookery show.
Hi, I'm Nigella Lawson, and before I bake any cake, I like to chop my flour into lines.
You can see that's rising nicely. It does that every time I think about how much money Channel 4 are going to pay me.
Hello and welcome to Can't Cook, Won't Cook. Today we won't be making anything. Goodbye.
Coming up next on Saturday Kitchen, whatever we want, because we know you're too hungover to change the channel.
This is a hot pot.
This is a fucking hot pot! So, if you want to bone a chicken, what you need to do, take it on a couple of dates, and then invite it back, put on some romantic music, and let nature take its course.
There is a bit of a problem on this week's food and drink. I've finished all of it.
This is a Thai chicken curry, or as I like to call it, hot Asian cock.
OK, Sam, let's see what you've brought in your bag of ingredients. It is a pint of wine and a large Malteser.
Right, welcome to Southern Cooking for Northerners. First up, quinoa. What is it and why it can fuck off?
Well, if you're going to pop it in, don't forget to cover it first. I didn't, and that's why I'm making paternity payments.
Hello, I'm Greg Wallace, and this series of MasterChef, we won't be using plates. We'll just be eating off my shiny, shiny head.
Hello, it's Nigella Lawson here again. I'm just going to say the word spatchcock for no reason. Spatchcock.
Anyone can make this. You can't, Beatrice. Sorry, you can't beat rice.
Let's just all go home. Yeah, let's just go home.
Welcome to Great Indian Bake Off. I'm Paul Bollywood.
Hello, I'm Jamie Oliver. Welcome to my new show. Stick a bit of fucking sugar in it.
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Nish, Zoe and Josh. We start with a round called If This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Zoe, which category would you like?
Politics, please.
OK, your category is politics. The answer is 50%. What is the question?
What is the name of 50 Cent's mathematician brother?
Is it what does Heather Mills save on IMAC?
What is the most you'll have to pay for a sofa at DFS?
What is a bad answer to the phrase, how much do you love me?
Is it the percentage of Ant and Dec that is forehead?
Is it you're a 19-year-old Glaswegian male, how much of your life is left?
Is it if I entered an orgy covered in Marmite, what would be my success rate? But to be honest,
I always find that when people say, oh, I'm a Marmite kind of person, people either love me or hate me. They're always people that everybody hates.
Is it how much of Silvio Berlusconi is made of oil?
Is it what percentage of the population, rather than a TV debate, would like to see Cameron and Brown have a cage fight?
I would love to see that.
So would I.
Yeah. Who would win that?
I would imagine Brown.
Yeah, Brown
He's got
would take
moves.
it.
He's also got that dislocatable jaw.
Yeah, he can actually swallow your whole.
He could swallow
you.
you.
He can actually take your jaw down.
Imagine that. Wouldn't that be incredible? If Cameron ran towards you.
Cameron's legs flapping.
Is it what was the proportion of cats that died during the making of my ill-fated television pilot, Cat versus Bleach?
It would be 100%, surely.
Do we have an answer that we can do?
I think it's what percentage of the top jobs in the Labour Party does Harriet Harman think should be filled by women?
You're absolutely right. Very good. Well done, Hugh. Thank you very much. Yes, the question I was looking for was, according to Harriet Harman, what proportion of the top 2 posts in the Labour Party should be allocated to Harriet Harman? Or more generally, women. This is the news. The Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, Harriet Harman, said that either her post or the job of leader should always be occupied by a woman because, in her words, men cannot be left to run things on their own. Her actual words.
Listen to that applause. Did you hear that? Bingo wings in the corner.
I mean, you know, there is something about representation of women at the high levels of government, but that actual quote does make it seem like every time she left the room, it would turn into a chimp's tea party. Sorry, and she'd come back in, they go, oh, sorry.
It's true, though, isn't it, that women are underrepresented in the top echelons of politics. I know, in Italy, for example, there are lots of women in the top jobs. You could be... Berlusconi will put you in the cabinet in Italy at the age of 19. if you're good enough. So you can see where she's coming from.
Harriet Harman's an incredible figure, isn't she? You know that Harriet Harman, when she first came to my attention, she wrote a book about the history of feminism, which she dedicated to her husband. She's mistaking sexism with people hating her.
She's always saying stupid things, isn't she? She said she is Radio 2 to Gordon Brown's Radio 4. And you're thinking, well, she's not Radio 2. Radio 2 is the most popular radio station in this country. If she's anything, she's Isle of Wight FM on a Sunday morning at 3 o'clock in January when the transmission mast is broken.
Some are watching is there is the guy who does the 3 o'clock in the morning slot. Why am I the shorthand for crap?
Wouldn't it be great if he looks exactly like Harriet Harman as well?
I know their female politicians always have an element of freakishness, don't they? She's a bit of a freak. Hazel Blears looks like Gianfranco Zola humped an Oompa Loompa. And Margaret Beckett looks like a face trapped in a haunted mirror.
Now we play a round called You Went to NATO, I Went to NATO. This game involves Tom and Reese, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launched a wheel of news, and whoever chooses to stop one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. OK, let's spin the wheel. And the first subject is the environment. Who wants to come in that? Reese.
We've got to do more, haven't we? We all know it's a big issue, the environment. We've got to do more stuff, but they're expecting too much from us too soon. OK, it's baby steps. Like, I know that I need to switch to a plant-based diet, really, but it's baby steps. Like, recently, I've given up chicken nuggets, all right? Might not seem like a big deal, OK, but I've gone nugless. That's what I decided. 3 months ago, I saw the first climate march. I was like, yeah, no more nuggets, right? And I'm smashing it. It's been 3 months, not had a single nugget. I'm doing so well. Slight confession, I'm eating a lot of goujons. Twice as many. And they've got way more real chicken in as well. It's awful for the planet. It's a terrible mistake. I thought we'd solved it with the bags. When we switched to charging 10p for the bag, I thought that was the end of the issue. I thought we'd done it. But it's not enough of a deterrent, is it, 10p, when you're at the checkout and you haven't remembered your canvas bag, and they go, do you want a bag for 10p? You're like, well, what's the alternative? I just eat all this now. Yeah. What's for dinner tonight? Oh, cauliflower, mustard and Dettol. Yes. I need a bag, please. Costa are the same. Costa, they'll give you 10p off your coffee if you're taking a reusable cup, right? Because they're like, oh, we're Costa, we care about the environment. No, you don't, mate. If you care about the environment, Costa, why are your receipts the size of a duvet? Get grip. But it is handy having that 10p, because you can take that 10p and spend it on a plastic bag in Sainsbury's. So it is ideal. No, but I think I know why middle-aged people don't like Greta Thunberg, right? And it's because she makes their kids look shit. Brag about your kids with her on the scene. This is parents in the playground stuff now, isn't it? With their parents just going, oh, yeah, oh, is your son Jamie? He's made the football team, has he? Oh, well done. My daughter is the face of the campaign to rescue this planet from the jaws of oblivion. But, good luck with a little kick about, Jamie. Off you go. Oh, your son, Lucas, he's made his grade 4 cello, has he? Oh, well done. Yeah, my daughter is the reason he might live to see grade 5.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Reese. OK, that leaves Tom. Let's see what your topic is. Let's spin the wheel. And it's travel.
Travel, OK, fine. Well, I travelled from over there. One of my favourite travel experiences was at secondary school when we went on the school music trip to France. And to get on the school music trip to France, you had to be part of the choir. I was in the choir, and it basically meant you got to hang out with all the other 13-year-old homosexuals who didn't yet realise they were homosexuals and their chatty female friends. And it was a great place to go and learn how to play a show tune on the flute. Not a euphemism. And this was back in the day when it didn't matter where you were going with the school. If you went on any school trip, you had to go by coach. Like, if you go to Australia, you go by coach. This was supposed to be a 5-day trip to France. We spent 2 days on the coach getting there and 2 days getting back. It was basically a day in France. So, on this trip, you really had to make the best of the coach trip. And for me, my favourite bit was when we got to stop off at the French hypermarket. So I thought that would be a great place for me to show off how much better I am than everybody else, because I'd actually been paying attention in French. So I went over to the patisserie and I said to the man there, "Bonjour, je voudrais un croissant, s'il vous plaît." And according to the French classes, the man behind the counter should have responded by saying, "Oui." Il y a un croissant ici, which, when you think about it, is basically the equivalent of someone coming over here and saying, "Hello, I'd like to buy a pasty, please." And then the man behind the counter responding by saying, "Yes!" There is a pasty here. I'm not even mentioning that it's part of a meal deal. So I said, "Bonjour, je voudrais un croissant, s'il vous plaît." And then the man behind the counter responded in normal French by going, blah, 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 blah. I had no idea what he was saying. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, my friend Kevin was no help. The only French he spoke was the French horn, which is a euphemism. I mean, I say they teach us how to speak French. Most of the time, they teach us how to sing it. I mean, I could have stood there and gone, "Quelle est la date de ton anniversaire?" But the idea of a 13-year-old English homosexual standing in the middle of a French hypermarket going, "What is the date of your birthday? What is the date of your birthday?" Couldn't be any more absurd. So I just responded by saying, "Oui, oui, d'accord, d'accord." Ended up with 8 kilograms of ham.
Thank you very, very much. Boys there at the top. So what changes does Ed Miliband propose to bring in about voting?
Is it the 16-year-olds can vote?
Yes, absolutely, 16-years and 17-years, because that would be really weird if you just said 16-years too. But then, what, you're 17? No, you can't. It's because you've gone hormonal again. I mean, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. We don't know. We don't know where.
Have a gap year.
Yeah, that'd be great. Gap year for voting.
Yeah, but that's a tight one.
Listen, all young people are going to have a gap year of about 40 years before they vote again anyway.
And it seems very fair that you should be able to vote at 16 in Scotland, because 16 a lot of places in Scotland, that counts as middle age, doesn't it? So...
Yeah, to be honest, at 16, I don't think I would have been trusting myself, because my question would have been, "Will there be girls there?" Yeah. "Oh, no. Oh, I don't think there's girls."
Yeah, Poet Babe Station. That should have been. Whole Babe Station.
These girls are miming, voting. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. You can
X my box.
You can X my box.
How about giving 3-year-olds the vote and still having one ballot box, but 4 different shapes that they have to put through?
Does it work as well as the system we have now? What do Labour want public sector employees to have to declare?
Their class.
Their class, yes. Or their class. Is it? Which is it? Oh, no. I'll give myself away, haven't I? Their clothes.
There's 2 ways I definitely can find out if someone's working class in public sector jobs. One, put bingo pens in the stationery office. If they go, you know they're in. The other one is put on a coach trip, because my aunties, they'll go to Syria if there's a rest stop and a tour guide. Love a coach trip. Anyway.
Middle class people don't want to self-identify as middle class. They, middle class want to be, because it's more authentic. Where it's, middle class is such a bland state of affairs.
It's not bland, is it? Have you tasted some of their food? What kind of flavours going on in there? It's not bland being middle class.
Have you mistaken middle class for Indian? The naan's incredible.
We call them nans. We was in Birmingham the other week doing a gig, and you had cream on top of your goulash.
No, listen.
Hey.
Hang on, why are you eating goulash? Goulash is... it's meat in goulash.
I'm not that much of an idiot. It was
vegetable goulash.
Can I have a beef goulash, but hold the beef? Rob and I had an argument, a discussion about the fact that I thought it had combined so much with the goulash that it rendered the situation untenable. But Rob said, "You could have scooped that out, mate. I don't know what's wrong with you." It's not vegan. It's eating cream over here. I haven't even heard of it in Lewisham.
Oh, we're such great mates.
It's a natural banter, which is why we put 5 people in between the two of you. The next topic is bad things to say at a job interview.
What do I think of nepotism? That's a good question, Dad.
Yeah, I served for 10 years in Afghanistan. I was in the Taliban.
I like to see myself as a people person, although some people have called me a trafficker.
So I'm just checking. You definitely don't do a CRB check.
You ask a lot of questions.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? My ankle bracelet's beeping really loudly.
Well, I am a fully qualified geography teacher, and the school's next door, is it?
If it were to take you on as an accountant, how do you think you'd cope with all the extra fanny you'd be getting?
Do I like jogging? Oh, I thought he said, do I like dogging? The answer's still yes.
You've demonstrated a bad attitude, an inability to listen, and a complete lack of interest in others. Welcome to Ryanair's customer service team.
Why do I want to be a vet? Ketamine.
Well, they gave me a tutu at university, so I just thought I'd wear it to the interview.
I'd say my 3 strongest points are attention to detail, a determination to see things through, yada, yada, yada.
Yes, I think I would be the perfect candidate today to make the platform announcement.
Why do you want to join the army? I just love a man in uniform.
What would I do if I won the lottery? Tell you to fuck off.
OK, that's it. End that round. The points go to Chris, you and Gary. The next round is called Between the Lines and features Hugh and Greg. Would you make your way to the press pit, please? Greg delivers a speech in the guise of a leading figure on the world stage while Hugh translates what they really mean. Greg, you are American presidential candidate Barack Obama.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to attempt to emulate my political heroes. Luther, Kennedy, Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King, what's wrong with
No, Martin Luther King is fine. It was Luther.
I love the idea your brain's just going, I can offer you the word tangerine, that is it.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to attempt to emulate my political heroes. Lincoln, Kennedy, Luther King.
I'm going to be assassinated.
Hillary is a wonderful politician, and I'm delighted to have her continued support.
Loser! Loser!
George Bush has been giving me some tips.
He still thinks I'm the valet who parks his car.
I have the greatest of respect for all of Senator McCain's achievements.
Oven chips.
I will, of course... I'm sorry, I'm starting to sound like some sort of soul singer now. Yeah, we got it together, didn't we, babe?
And the subject is weather.
You do it. I'll do it. I've got this. Weather is one of the things that shows that the British people are great big jessies. Not the British people, actually. No, there's a split here. When it snows, Scottish people do this. Oh, look, love. Snow. See you later. English people go, oh, God! It is the end of day! When it snowed last year, the BBC were going, don't go out! It's -2! We don't know if humans can live at that temperature! There are men made of snow with outstretched arms waiting for you! Don't go out! And the news always talks us up. We're always woefully underprepared, woefully underprepared. Where's the salt? Where's the salt? Where's the salt? Look, we're never going to run out of salt in this country. As long as supermarkets continue to do value meals, we'll be fine, right? Fling a few lasagnas up the M1, you'll be grand. Don't worry about it. Chinese meal for 2, good for 40 miles, I should think, which won't be a problem. We massively overplay this. The news are the worst at it. Sky News, I was watching Sky News on the day after it snowed, the day of the lethal compacted ice. Reporting from a rural spa where supplies were running low. And in an attempt to ramp up the tension, the reporter genuinely said this phrase, "This place is down to its last pack of croissants." Oh, God, the humanity! Forced to eat pain au chocolat!
Unlikely lines from a cosmetics commercial.
Are you an older woman struggling with her facial hair? Try Gillette, the best a nun can get.
Would you like lashes with more volume? Lashes!
You don't need lip liner or eyeliner with our new bin liner.
What goes into our true naked, infallible moisture, crushing nature, colour palette body moisturiser? A selection of random words that mean fuck all.
What's my secret for smooth skin? I'm 20.
Is your hair out of control? Do you wear wacky shirts? Well, hey, you're great just how you are.
You want fuller, rounder lips? I recommend a nut allergy.
Are you tired of missing out on the opportunities that your peers get? Try White Privilege Foundation.
Here comes the science. Global warming is real. None of this matters.
We in the German city of Cologne have a fragrance called Birmingham.
This apricot scrub removes the surface layers to leave you with the smoothest, most rejuvenated apricot you have ever seen.
And for one last time, it's me, the returning officer.
This product makes your eyelashes look really big by shrinking your eyeballs.
Want that football hooligan a broad look? Why not try oil of ole, 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 ole?
Sorry, has anyone seen The Returning Officer?
Any messages?
Our new powder gives you the confidence to hit the town. Cocaine!
Now we play round call. If this is the answer, what is the question? On the board are 6 categories. Nathan, which category would you like?
Health, please.
OK, your category is health, and the answer is 8. What is the question?
Is it when talking to Barack Obama, how many black friends does David Cameron claim to have?
Is it what might bras look like if breasts were arranged vertically?
So, according to figures given to the tax office, how many coffees has Starbucks ever sold?
Is it after what hour are you legally permitted to consume square mint chocolates?
Is it how many times has Julian Assange watched the complete DVD collection at the Ecuadorian embassy?
Is it, in fact, how many Father's Day cards did Boris Johnson get?
Is it how many episodes of Top of the Pops from the 1970s are safe to repeat?
Is it how many thousand people are looking at this thinking, why is Lamar doing comedy?
Including Lamar.
Is it, in fact, how many days should this year's winner of The Voice reserve for their career?
It's about the NHS.
Is it, in fact, how many commandments are there now for patient care?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Thank you very much, Andy Parsons. That is it. Yes, the question I was looking for was how many care commandments are being proposed for hospitals to help improve standards for patients. This is the news that the Care Quality Commission proposes that doctors and nurses should be issued with 8 fundamentals of care to ensure that patients are treated well. The charter, to be displayed in every ward and GP surgery across the country, is one of a number of proposals to improve standards of health care. Now, obviously, traditionally there are 10 commandments, but they felt unnecessary to include the one about the donkey.
Is there one about the donkey? What's about a donkey? It's an oxen, isn't it?
Welcome to Mock the Week 458 BC.
Thou shalt not cover thy neighbour's drip.
Thou shalt have a right to wear a gown that doesn't show your bum. Food that can be cut with a knife.
They're so desperate for money. My nan was in hospital recently and they had to kick her off her trolley because they were taking it back to Asda for the pound.
I've heard your nan's off her trolley anyway.
I can't offend any more family today.
Yes, the answer I was looking for was Gove announces exam changes. This is the news that Education Secretary Michael Gove has announced a new English baccalaureate certificate to replace GCSEs. From 2015, students will work towards a demanding 3-hour exam at the end of a 2-year course rather than the current combination of coursework, modular exams and multiple retakes.
He's even invented an exam that thicker kids won't be able to pronounce. It's the back of what? The back of what? The back. Oh, give me a shovel, I'll go down to mine.
I think the idea is if you're academic, then you get a baccalaureate, and otherwise they teach you practical skills like how to baccalaureate.
The Tories have assured us that under this system no child will be left behind, but how can we take Tory promises that no child will be left behind seriously when their leader's David Cameron?
Do you know what the abbreviation is?
It's called
EBC.
EBAC.
It's called the EBAC.
EBAC, which is when Yorkshire people make payment over the internet.
I thought that was something from Star Wars, isn't that?
Yes, it was. Do you know who hated the
I bet you
EBACs?
can't do the impression.
Your EBACs will not qualify you to run the empire.
There's been a lot of debate over, whether grades have been devalued, and I was discussing that recently with my nephew, Professor Timmy.
So, hang on, sorry, because it's one of these things that I genuinely am always perplexed about, coming from a different country as I have, with my spices and my silks. To your nation. And there's so many great things about it, except your exams, which are mad. And not that the education, by the way, is great. I'm not saying anything about the education people get here, it's fantastic. But the exams are mad.
There are people who, when confronted with an exam paper, just go to pieces completely and forget how to count, and I think it's very unfair that they're marking the papers.
are people who just shouldn't be taking exams. My friend Carl was at sixth form college with a girl who got her A-level results, and when she pulled out the piece of paper with the 3 letters telling her what her future would be, she went, that spells none.
People make an awful lot about the pressure that kids are under, and I suppose they are, but speaking as an ex-teacher, that when it comes to exam time, there's far worse pressure on the teachers, because you have to spend sometimes 4 or 5 hours in those halls just walking up and down, and it's a recipe for insanity. I had no choice when I was teaching but to invent a game called Campile. It was just to see who could walk up and down the aisle the campest. We started off just sort of slightly mincing. Honestly, by the end of it, I was walking down a full aisle of children like this. And I knew it was time for me to leave teaching when I got to the end of one aisle. Genuinely, during an actual GCSE, a kid looked up at me and went...
So were you essentially voguing your way?
I'm not exaggerating. By the end of it, I was like...
The thing is, they want to make the exams harder, don't they? You know, but surely they're hard enough already if your teacher is walking up and down.
Oh, no, I'm still qualified, technically. We'll have to cut this bit out.
Really? Is that your safety net?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Do you think anybody, having seen you in In-Betweeners, anybody is ever going to employ you?
Well, you've always got a trade.
I did a gig at the University of Central England, which is in Birmingham. That's what they're trying to hide from you. And as an opening line, I said, UCE, so called because that's a grade it takes to get in. But I had to explain it to them.
I'll tell you, I was in an exam when I was at school. My mate, at the back of the hall went... we were all waiting to leave. Someone at the back of the hall went... Meow. Mr. Mearden, the exam invigilator, went... And then someone else went... Meow. And then... Meow. From different parts of the hall, and it led to my favourite sentence I've ever heard come out of an adult's mouth, which was, all right, no one leaves until the meowing stops.
At the end of that round, the points go to Chris, Hugh and Gary. Things you wouldn't hear on the radio.
This is the Radio Novichok. Don't touch that dial.
Give yourself a spray of Lynx Africa, open up a can of Relentless, sit back in your cargo shorts and relax. This is Virgin Radio. And with the time now at 3 a.m, it's probably time to just stare into space and think about where it all went wrong and maybe have a bit of a cry. Yes. Coming up, we have got some of the sickest tracks from some of the illest artists around. This is Karaoke on Hospital Radio.
Well, today on The Archers, Daisy gets a bolt from the blue when she unexpectedly wanders into an abattoir.
Viking, Dogger, 40s, white. Oh, sorry, that's not the shipping forecast. That's my Tinder dates bio.
At number 2, that was Ed Sheeran with Galway Girl. And now at number 1 for the 50th week in a row, Ed Sheeran with Galway Girl.
And now the long-range forecast. It's going to be quite windy.
We welcome you to Radio 3. That's right, just you.
And now it's time for Thought for the Day.
Nope, it's gone.
Well, this is Gardener's Question Time, and a big welcome, especially to our younger viewers, like 92-year-old Enid from Surrey.
And next on Radio 4, it's Woman's Hour. And after that, 23 Men's Hours.
Must have coffee.
That was first thought of the day.
On Jazz FM, it's a new entry at number 1. It's Skibbity-bap-bap-bibbity-bap-beam. Sorry, I was having a stroke. It's Ed Sheeran, Galway.
Boris Johnson is joining us on the couch this morning. He's not a guest, it's just that's where he slept last night.
The shipping forecast. There will be shipping.
And we interrupt this broadcast to bring you the tragic news that Aretha Franklin has sadly passed away. And what better way to show our respect for Miss Franklin than with Galway Girl by Ed Sheeran.
The news. What has Prince Charles said is the largest challenge facing the world today?
Is it narrow doorways and you get your ears caught?
It's climate change.
Yes,
Isn't
it's
it?
climate change rather
it's
than the
not
narrow
ears
doorways.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was ice buckets.
It's not ice buckets. No, our ice buckets are the reason for climate change.
No, but they are one of the biggest challenges in...
They are. They are. Everyone has to do it at some stage.
Charles is worried, apparently, because we've only got another 30 years until climate change might be irreversible. And he's therefore worried that it might ruin his coronation.
This is Charles yesterday on the Royal Yacht, which is not quite as impressive as it used to be.
Is this a summit in New York?
Yes, he's had some in Europe.
China and India have not turned up to the summit, and they're like the worst ones for climate change, which is ridiculous. It's like Oscar Pistorius not going to an Oscar Pistorius trial, isn't it? And he's got the biggest carbon footprint going. That's the thing. I like a bit of climate change, isn't it? It's like I was in the garden yesterday. It's September. It's lovely. It's October soon. Sitting in the garden still. No? Do you not have gardens?
That's weather. That's not climate.
Yeah, where does the weather come from? The climate. All I'm saying is, if it goes up a bit, you know, it's not that hot in Lewisham. It's nice to have a couple of extra degrees.
I'm glad you're having a nice day in the garden.
Thank you.
And I'm sure there's a polar bear somewhere going, all right, this seems to be getting smaller, but at least Lewisham is having a nice day.
We've had a rough few years. And I'm not going to bump into him anyway, am I?
I would love that. Ding dong, and you open your door and there's a polar bear and they're going.
Well, to be fair, luckily, because
holding a tiny piece of ice under his arm.
To be fair,
my house.
Because of the narrow doorways, you won't even be able to get in anyway.
The United Nations, they're encouraging people to go vegetarian, aren't they? Because apparently one of the big problems with climate change is all these cows farting. So, yeah, either we've got to eat less meat or we need to give the cows a bit of Pepto-Bismol.
I don't understand that, because, like, if the cows farting is causing the problem, then surely eating them is the solution. I mean...
You think we're eating cows as a way of saving, you know, we should we've got to eat all the cows before they fart us into a climate change?
The thing, I mean, I'm speaking as a vegan, by the way, but there is a logical disconnect here, because, like, you know, you say that, you know, you don't want to have all these animals that are farting, whatever, but there is this point we have to go. We'd have to just, what do we do? Just release them into the public?
On the unlikely circumstance, the rest of us who aren't vegans suddenly go, do you know what? No. Not going to that. No more meat. We all go, no more beef. There'll be a lot of cattle farmers going, what am I supposed to do with this lot then? And you go, well, just let them go. No. Let them go back into the wild where they belong.
Feed them to the polar bears.
First. What's been banned for the first time in the GH?
Wives. They're not, no partners are allowed.
No partners, golfing resort, Ireland. It sounds more like a stag do than a summer.
Michelle Obama stayed in Dublin, I think, didn't she? And they went to Riverdance. Is that still on in Dublin?
No,
Riverdance?
actually, I don't. We must have put it on specially. Literally, I think they went, what are we going to do? Do we have some dancers still lying around, you know, in parks with their legs still moving, just looking for we'll dance for cash written on a sign. Really?
The Obamas think that the reason that in Riverdance they only use the lower half of the body to dance with is because in Ireland all the arms have been decommissioned.
I like that. That's really good.
I think that our work is done.
A long journey. They got there at the end.
They usually have a special programme of, like, sort of visits and lectures for all the wives. And you have to feel sorry for Angela Merkel's husband, just generally.
Joe Merkel. Sorry.
Didn't Barack Obama talk to some of the kids before the G8 started? I thought that was good, because out of all the leaders, he's probably the best one. One, because he's obviously a great speaker, and also because most of the young white kids nowadays are talking like they're black. So, probably anyone who can relate.
What else did Barack Obama get that Putin wanted?
Michelle Obama.
Quite possibly, but
he got the gym.
Yeah. He got the gym, yeah.
He got the gym. There was a fight over who would get to go in the gym.
Because they wouldn't work out at the same time.
Fair enough. It's very difficult to negotiate with somebody who you've seen vigorously toweling their balls. So, what about trade? Can we talk about this later? No, now's as good a time as any.
But he lost, didn't he? Obama got it because Putin gave in because he said he was going to get his exercise by swimming in the lock.
Yes, there's a lake lock
very early in the morning.
It's odd that Putin wanted to swim in an icy lake, because that's normally what happens to his critics.
You know, Putin, you know, because he loves the hard man image, doesn't he? This is just a photo opportunity for him. You know exactly that when he comes out of that Northern Irish lake, he'll have a bear going, I just found this. Just a KGB guy in a suit going, can they get out yet?
What tax reforms have they agreed?
They have agreed, basically, that they should do more with tax havens, that they should be more transparent.
There's always ways around it, though, isn't there? I mean, Jimmy Carr's registered as a Channel Island.
I think he's literally registered as a Jimmy Carr. He just pays road tax.
Cameron Smith spoke to things the other day about what he wanted to clamp down on. If for some reason it sang to me that he wanted to clamp down on secretive companies in secretive locations. And there's something about the...
It's a perfume.
It is, secretive companies in secretive locations. Your armpit.
It's all this to do with avoid and evade nonsense, isn't it? Yeah. You can avoid tax, but you can't evade tax.
Yeah, that's right, because avoidance is legal, whereas evasion is illegal. And if you are sent to jail for evasion, you will find out what it's like to have a loophole abused.
Can we move on to the actual meeting itself, the Conservative Party conference? How has that gone? How have the Conservatives, in the light of all these scandals, won back the hearts and minds of the British public?
Cameron wants to bring back the idea that you'll have your own doctor again. They want to extend GP hours and also have you don't just see the annual GP, you'll have your own GP, which I like the idea of, because my surgery, you don't know which one you're going to see. And sometimes when you arrive, we've got one of those electronic arrive for your appointment things, rather than talk to a receptionist. They feel there's a more efficient way of spreading disease if you all have to touch a screen. and sometimes it'll say you're going to see this doctor or that doctor, but sometimes it doesn't know. And one time I've gone in, and it's actually gone, you are seeing Dr. Unknown.
My old nemesis.
We meet again, Dr. Unknown.
People are worried about kind of immigration and employment. People are defecting to UKIP. And so to counter that, they come up with this amazing policy, which is that if a parent or something dies and he leaves a pension, they're going to reduce the tax that you have to pay after death. You kind of think,
What is that? Is that exciting in any sense?
Yes.
No.
To rich people, that is enormously exciting.
I don't understand it. What about zombies?
Okay. Zombies is a legal grey area.
Do they have to pay it, or do they get a rebate?
They don't get a rebate, but they only have to pay a lower rate of tax on when they draw down the lump sum that they had previously invested but not taken. Presuming they became a zombie after 75. Before 75, of course, they get the same series of monthly payments that I had leading up to the going back. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. The first topic is global warming. Who wants to come in on that? Andy Parsons.
Sheryl Crow, she's gone into the debate. She wants us to save natural resources by apparently using only one sheet of toilet paper per visit. Now, let's face it, sometimes that's just not feasible, is it? But ever since I found that out, part of me's there thinking, each time I use more than one sheet, I've let Sheryl Crow down. Then part of me's thinking, oh, I'd never want to go out with Sheryl Crow. She's a toilet paper Nazi. And half the time, she's probably got a dirty arse.
Thank you very much, Andy Parsons. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is celebrity. Who wants to come in on that?
I'll take that. Ed. Yes. No, I'll take celebrity because, you know, I suppose, I'm a celebrity. You know, I've got the sort of... I'm on telly, occasionally. I'm on it right now. So that's fair enough, you know. But I'm not like famous. I've got the sort of halfway house. I'm not like household name, but I'm not nobody. I'm sort of like that bloke. What's his name? You know, like people will say, oh, I saw that Ed Byrne on telly. And the other person will go, who? You go, oh, you know, the Irish guy, comedian. What, the big guy with the bald head? No, not that bloke. And it's weird when you got that sort of in-between thing, because, you know, I'll tell you what I get a lot, particularly in England, is I get people coming up to me to tell me that they don't know who I am. Seriously. Which to me seems a bizarre thing to cross a room to tell somebody, but you would be alarmed how often someone will come up to me in a pub or a club and go, apparently you're on the television? I've never heard of you. Really? My family used to own a dog called Layla. What? Sorry, I thought we were playing swap information neither of us give a shit about. No? Whereas in Ireland, I'm a bit more well-known. So in Ireland, I get abuse.
Now we play a round called Mock the 9 o'clock News. This game involves Zoe, Stuart, Andy and Russell. So if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This is where we test our performers' stand-up skills. We spin our news generator, it settles on a topic, and then you can volunteer jokes about the chosen subject. The winners are the people I judge to produce the funniest stuff. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. The first subject is finance. Can I have a volunteer to talk about that? Andy.
British Airways, their answer to the credit crunch, they've asked their employees, can you come into work for nothing for a month or take a month off unpaid? There's a tricky choice, isn't there? And who is going to want to fly British Airways? The last thing you want to hear when you get on the plane, this is your captain speaking. I'm not being paid today. Good luck. I am looking forward to seeing the credit crunch version of Monopoly. You know, instead of getting £1,500 from the bank, you have to lend the bank £1,500. And then everybody keeps on going round the board with nobody buying any property whatsoever because they always think it's going to be cheaper next time they go around.
Well done, Andy. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is Sarah Palin. Who wants to talk about that?
Ah, Sarah Palin. She was apparently an ex-beauty queen of a town in Alaska called Wasilla. And the press were very keen on this. They kept saying, you know, the beauty queen, Sarah Palin, the ex-beauty queen, the beauty queen, Sarah Palin. Let me tell you something, people. Wasilla is a very, very small town. Population 8, possibly 9,000 people at the best of times. To call it a one-horse town is to over-exaggerate the number of horses in that town by one. They timeshare a horse with another shithole down the road. Now, my brother used to live in Anchorage, Alaska, and I have been to Wasilla, and in the 5 minutes it took us to drive across Wasilla, I was voted beauty queen of Wasilla. It was no big deal, honestly. An otter and a caribou came second and third, respect.
Thank you very much, Joey. That leaves us with Stuart and Russell. Let's spin the wheel again. The next topic is men's health. Who wants to come in on that? Russell.
I went to the doctors recently with anal issues. I thought I had cancer, not I can't put my CDs in order. But it's a terrifying moment, right? So scary, because in your head, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And I went there and I took down my trousers. Obviously, we had a chat first, and it just... I'm not very well. You can see that, mate. This is a chip shop. You've never done it slower in your life. I was just peeling them down. I got them down to about there. Just heard his booming voice go, "In the other room." You have a decision to make there. Do you pull them up or do you waddle with pride, right? You waddle, that's what you do. When you waddle, you can't help but giggle. The last thing you need is to be giggling is before a man's going to pop his finger in your Richard, because now you're a wiggling target, right? I'll be honest, when the finger goes in, you're not laughing anymore! You're like a red arrow! And that's the moment they chat. How you doing? Fine. When you draw the curtains, we've gathered quite a crowd. Look at that, it's Atrium Steps and he's getting violated. I'm Russell!
OK, Stuart, let's see what you've been left with. Let's spin the wheel. And the topic is school.
You are looking at a very proud Canadian who's very proud of the education system in Canada. No, I was horrible in school. I failed math so many times I can't even count. I preferred French over chemistry because the chemistry teacher and I just didn't have any rapport. One teacher said I'd be a better student if I spent less time flirting. I immediately jumped off his lap. One teacher used to always say I wasn't very observant, but you know what? That was his or her opinion. I was going to join the debating team, but someone talked me out of it. In high school, I was voted most likely to reminisce.
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Zoe and Stuart. The Large Hadron Collider in CERN in Switzerland starts on Wednesday.
Or to give it its proper name, the Black Hole Machine.
They've taken all necessary precautions.
No, they haven't.
They haven't taken the necessary precaution of not doing it, though, have they?
There's a 1 in 50 million chance that it could create a black hole which will end the universe. Now, I would argue that if there's any chance of that, like if my kid said to me, "Can I get a train set up in the loft?" I would go, OK. If said, "Could I get a train set that might end the universe?" I'd say, what about a bike?
So you'd prefer it if they got the protons and then cycled them round the tunnel on a bicycle?
The thing is, I'm sure they're going to find out some interesting things about protons, but I would add, I don't give a fuck.
I think if the...
I think they've taken all the necessary safety precautions,
It's
right?
it might create a tiny black hole, right, which is the worst type of black hole, because we'll all get drawn slowly towards Switzerland. And every week this desk will be like 2 feet further over there. And then eventually we'll just look one week and Russell have have been replaced by just the jaws of infinity.
Why was that directed at me, Frankie? The jaws of infinity. I thought we were going to see a cow and chocolate and we'd be in Switzerland, but all of a sudden my eyeballs are sucked out of my face. Just for sitting nearest to the audience.
What? You thought
Why
that...
am I the first to go?
You're nearest to Switzerland. We tilted it around during the show so that you'd be the one closest to Switzerland.
Well, this is bullshit now.
No one's going to die. It's basically...
He just told me I'm going to die on telly. He looked at me and said I was going to...
My God, I hope you have the cameras rolling when it happens. That'll be incredible. Just him going, "Wah," and clinging on to the desk, right? While we hammer at his fingers. Go! Go proudly! No, go Russell! Go Brett.
You'd be like that. There's more space on scenes we'd like to see.
It's just not going to work, though, is it? Because what they're looking for is a thing called the Higgs boson.
Yes.
Is that right? Which is a subatomic particle, which is, you know, lasts for a million trillionth of a second. It's incredibly small. Most of the scientists I've ever met would have trouble finding a clitoris. They're not going to find that.
Well, OK, they don't find the Higgs boson by just rooting around and checking on their desks. I'm sure there's a Higgs boson.
Are you saying that's your method for finding the clitoris? Well, I'll root around, and if it's not there, I'll check the desk.
With that, we offer the points to Frankie, Hugh and Michael!